So unless we get back to biblical truth, people can tag that word justice onto any agenda that they want.
One of the questions I'm asked very often if we do a Q&A or something like that is somebody will say, what do we do about pronouns? Because for my kids' generation, my kids are 14 and 11, and it's the number one issue that they're facing is the radical gender theory, trans ideology, and the pronouns. Because they, for my kids' generation, and I tell people, you cannot shelter them from this. You can lock them inside your house, and they're still going to hear about it, even if they don't have access to screens. It is just absolutely everywhere. And so what I tell people with the pronouns is, it's really not that difficult. You don't live by lies. That's when somebody else is forcing you to tell a lie. That's the line. You don't have to live by lies. And it's amazing how language is used in this way to twist. And another example of that is just in my personal life, I love to make sourdough bread. So I'm baking bread all the time. I love to do that. So I follow some Instagram accounts of people who make sourdough bread and some schools and things like that. And I saw this post yesterday, Dr. Lutzer. I couldn't believe it. It was taking the word justice and just twisting it up into something else. And it said the post was lamenting the fact that sales of white, like mass manufactured white bread, are up. And they said this is a food justice issue. They said because this white bread is bad for people and it's not very digestible, whatever they thought was wrong with the mass manufactured white bread, they said this is actually an injustice. And they called it food injustice because poor people can afford it. And so it's unjust to them to not make the better bread affordable to them. So, I know that this is something a lot of people face when they're scrolling through Instagram. Explain what is going on when they're calling white bread sales being up food injustice.
Well, that's a new one for me, but I do want to comment about the pronoun
Mm-hmm.
situation first. If Bert was born a boy and now he wants to be called Betty, I would call him Betty, and the reason is because names are not gendered. And as a matter of fact, many couples today name their girls, their baby girls, by what we used to call boys' names. But if you ask me to use the pronoun she for Bert, I can't do that. I'm with you on that. You don't live by lies. And what you try to do is to help them to understand, oh, you have your truth, and I'm supposed to respect that, but you also have to respect my truth because my truth says I can't say what I know to
Mm-hmm.
be false. And so what you have to do is, if anything, maybe never use the pronouns, always call him Betty or whatever name he wants, and get around the pronouns like that. But you cannot, in good conscience, as a Christian, call a boy a she. That's where I draw the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
Now, justice. Oh, my justice. People today say everything is a justice issue. If you want to attract attention and to get people on your side, just call it a justice issue. Now, here's the problem. When justice is severed from the Bible and God's righteousness, when that happens, justice can go in any direction people want. Even in the book of Judges, when the Bible says, they did that which was right in their own eyes, we could translate that, they did that which was just in their own eyes. So the word justice is being misused today and applied to everything and every agenda imaginable. For example, you have marriage justice, which is same-sex marriage. You have reproductive justice. Reproductive justice is, of course, abortion. You have all the issues of, the whole issue of the border. You have that justice. You have immigration justice. That's the word I was searching for. And now you have bread justice. One of the most important verses in all the Bible, and I wish I had looked this up before I came on today because it's a very important verse. I do think I have the reference. Isaiah 59, verse 12. It could be verse 14, where it says this: Righteousness stands afar off, and justice is not allowed to enter, because truth has stumbled in the
Mm,
public square.
mm,
So, unless we get back to biblical truth, people can tag that word justice onto any agenda that they want. And what we need to do, and this is why the social justice thing is so complicated. There are people who say, well, shouldn't you be in favor of justice? What does the Lord your God require of you but to do justice? Well, yes, but it's biblical justice. And that
mm,
has to do with equal opportunity. It has to do with equality before the law. It even has to do with giving to the poor. It has to do with those things. But biblical justice, using that word, can't be tagged onto any agenda that we want and justify it and say that this is a just cause.